welcome back to the Girl in Norway channel, where I vlog about writing my first book, re-navigating life in my 30s, and the occasional hike through Norwegian forests. Today is going to be a little bit different because last week I was meant to publish part 2 of how I'm editing my debut novel using the Save the Cat framework. And I almost said now that life got in the way, but actually I was just living my life. I decided to reboot this channel for the fun of it, for the creativity, for the just trying something different and adding another outlet into my life when, it's just something else to turn to occasionally. And it's really important to me that it doesn't become an obligation, part of the mental load, and that I only create content when it feels good. And a lot has been going on these past couple of weeks, and it's coming up to summer holidays and the kids are around more, and there have definitely been times when I could have created content, but I didn't want to. I wanted to enjoy a coffee outside or go and see a friend or simply just sit down and knit or whatever. And I have had some new subscribers since I rebooted this channel, but there's only a few of us, and I am really happy to have you here. Part of what the fun of it still being small in a way, like it is small, but there's part of it only being a handful of new subscribers, is I'm creating content still basically for myself. And if it does something for you, if it's meaningful for you, then amazing. I want this channel to be a place on the internet where, it's sort of all in the space of trying to slow down and live more intentionally, get more joy out of life. So I hope the content I make makes a difference for you, but I have to create it for myself. So that is the rambly way of saying, so I didn't get that video out last week, and I don't want to spend time sitting down making a part 2 right now. I will link to the other video and part 1, and I will make a part 2 at some point, but I don't want to do that today, but I do want to create some content. So what I've decided to do is I also started up a Substack. I am a person who chronically starts new things. I'm trying to get better at only starting things that I feel I will follow through on, and to only do that when it feels good. So anyway, I started a Substack, and I wanted to simply read it to you. And of course, if you like to read yourself and you're here, I'm assuming you are getting something out of the kind of content I'm producing. So if you like to read, go check out the Substack, but I'm gonna read it to you in case you're more of a visual listener kind of person. I got my handy laptop. So, a finger in many pies. On life after losing my job, a book, a business, a locally made soup, and a sewing machine. I wrote this last week, by the way. I'm sitting on our sun-drenched balcony in Oslo as I write this. Birdsong dances through the forest in front, and a breeze brushes through the just about surviving flowers I finally got around to planting. For a moment, dear readers, my fingers hesitated on the keyboard, unsure of how to package everything up for you that's been happening over the past few months. Instead, I took a breath and exhaled, a mirror to the very long inhale I've been taking this year. Let's just tell it how it is. A multitude of options lie ahead, against a backdrop of cynicism bred from AI, the economy, wars, you name it. I started out this year the way I have for the past 4, setting my word of the year, the compass that would guide me whenever I was stuck on how to move forward. This year, I chose connection. Connection with nature, my family, my friends, my values and interests. And it's this word I'm holding on to as an anchor as I inevitably move forward one way or another. We're all on a path and in constant motion, no matter what choice we make. Whether that's the choice to hide away at home, the adventure-fearing hobbit path, the choice to harness your weak spots and shoot an arrow into them, the Feyre learns to read and become high lady path, or the choice to relax into the tides of what opportunities come up, the destiny versus free will Randall Thor style path. if you don't enjoy mixed book metaphors, you might be in the wrong Substack. As for me, I'm teetering on the cliff of it all, trying to understand which way I want to fall. But let's go back 1 month to set the scene. 1 month earlier, I got the call that many around the world in 2006, particularly those in the games industry, fear getting. I had lost my job. Not because of anything I'd done, but because of factors entirely outside of my control. I'm not going to spill the tea on what happened there. 1, because legal stuff, but 2, because I'm not the kind of gal to air my ex's dirty laundry on the internet. More the kind to wish them the best and reflect on what I myself could have done differently. What I will say is I've been waiting for that axe to fall for quite some time. Studies have shown that having a 50% chance of being electrocuted is far more stressful than having a 100% chance. I can attest to that. So getting that call filled my body with relief and had me feeling like Snow White walking through her enchanted forest with her magical furry friends for some days. Then came the realization that, the same had happened recently to hundreds of others in my own city with a population of less than 800,000. That meant hundreds of applicants per relevant job opening in some cases. That reality shock put quite the dampener on the brand new chapter of my life feeling. On the one hand, I was out of a situation where I didn't feel able to show up as the best version of myself anymore. It was an opportunity to recalibrate what I value, what conditions I need to be able to put my best foot forward, and to just breathe and spend time with my family and hobbies. On the other hand, fear is the mind killer. Hey, I gave you an out earlier. Consider this your last warning if you don't want to feel like you're browsing a bookshop, catching up with your bestie, coffee in hand. It is simply paralyzing to try and take a zoomed out view of your life and orient yourself when you're also confronted with the reality of bills to pay, a family to take care of, and one of the world's worst job market scenarios since the financial crisis of 2009. So, how do we move forward? I'm so glad you asked, because this is a journey I'd love to take us together. You have your path, and I have mine. I hope we'll find our paths crisscrossing in the meadow of wildflowers, even if just for a moment now and then, on this little corner of the internet. Let's sit down for some cheese and crackers and natter about where we're going next over a thermos. Standard run-of-the-mill job seeking. Because I occasionally step out of Delulu land, I know it's smart to keep on applying for jobs traditionally. It's soul-draining in this current market and can feel pointless when you know many other qualified candidates are in the exact same scenario. However, I do know it's smart to have a finger in many pies in this unpredictable era, and more on those pies in a moment. Besides, every job I've had has arrived entirely unexpected. Like, hey, that role seems really unusual amongst the sea of nondescript ads, or because I've spotted a business opportunity and I've reached out to a company directly. I'm keeping out an eye for roles in project management, comms, and marketing primarily. I've spent years working in these areas, and the magnet that pulled me to them in the first place is still there. I love to weave stories, to build something new, to nurture communities, and to find the calm in chaos. That tug is still there, but it has been somewhat dampened by the stress of the past year. Alongside staying on the application train, I'm trying to use this time as an opportunity to explore what truly makes me tick and brings me to life. Of course, I need to couple that with reality, which is why I'm putting the feelers out in a few different directions, all while not burning myself out or losing my marbles. Which brings me on to coffee break. Writing my book. I finished my first draft of my debut novel right after losing my job. Talk about getting the kick up the butt I needed. Next up is the developmental edit, before passing it on to beta readers who hopefully will make me cry with joy and not the news that they added it to their DNF pile. I'm sure I'll be sharing more of that journey here, but for now, you can check out the YouTube video, and I'll send a link, I published on how I overcame the fear of writing and actually got it done, while working full-time, raising 2 young kids, and battling adenomyosis. Community microfunding. When I moved to my current neighbourhood in the autumn of 2023, the area immediately gave me Gilmore Girl vibes. A kaleidoscope of bronzing leaves, a myriad of local businesses, and fresh coffee filling the cool air from the bakeries. However, I knew I wanted a deeper connection and to contribute to this small town within a city. And so the seed of an idea was planted. Give a stage to people who wanted to make the neighbourhood even better, the audience the ability to vote for their favourite pitch, and microfunding to the winning idea. Full disclosure, this is not an original idea from me. It was born from Detroit Soup, which went on to be an international movement. Oslo Soup existed some years ago, and I participated myself. Nothing to make you confront your fear of public speaking than standing in front of a crowd who will literally judge you on it. So this event is my own spin. All ideas must have positive local impact in some way. I approached the Oslo Volunteer Centre, who took on the vision with open arms. I struggle myself with energy management and having a billion ideas every day, so working on this with a network of local businesses and the superwoman that leads the centre has been an absolute blessing. We're having the first event, which will be annual, on September 22nd this year. If you're in Oslo, this is a great chance to have some direct impact on positive societal changes. Entrance is free, and you'll have some delicious soup produced by the local gardening club. Info in the link at the end. I will also leave a link to that in the description. Tiffany Rose Growth Studio. A red thread running throughout my career and my personal ventures has been the drive to build communities and to supercharge growth through meaningful connection and organic methods. If I spot a gap, I can't help but try to fill it. When I moved to Norway in the dark depths of 2012 winter, I felt completely isolated. So I did what any normal person would do, and I started an English book club that now has over 2,000 digital members. When I wanted to improve my Norwegian and build more of a community belonging, I aired butchering the language and trying to understand Norwegian culture here on YouTube. When I found myself with an identity crisis and a minus in the energy bank as a new mum, I used what grains of energy I had left to build a coaching membership for other mums wanting to softly and slowly work on their personal goals. It's only natural then that I would use this current gap in my life to start my own business. I was self-employed for some years as a freelance copywriter and translator, so this isn't my first rodeo, but it is my first ride in a world where AI exists and everyone is tightening their purse strings. I have faith, however, that these conditions only serve to create a bigger thirst for in-person events, meaningful connections, and see the humans behind a product or service. So, Tiffany Rose Growth Studio was born. It's such a newborn baby that I don't even have a website yet. But I do have a potential client, and actually since then that client is locked in and I have a potential second one. And the drive to only bring to the table what I can honestly offer. Business growth based on organic tactics and my killer organizational skills. Selling myself feels akin to doing a vodka-induced pole dance in a nightclub just as the lights come on. So I'm not going out guns blazing on this one. I'm starting with my local network, hoping I can get a couple of first clients where their needs fit what I can offer, and that word of mouth takes care of the rest. Tiffany Rose Handmade. Hands up if you grew up thinking you just didn't have the genetic coding to make anything with your hands. Yeah, me too. Until my mother-in-law gifted me with some wool, needles, and a knitting pattern for Christmas 2019. Armed with a lot of patience from her and the urge to make something for the second kiddo growing in my womb, plus the worldwide shutdown, I learned how to knit. Then I dusted off the sewing machine we gifted our own daughter, who hasn't taken a second glance at it, and taught myself how to sew bags, then scrunchies, then a patchwork rabbit for kiddo, then finally trousers for myself using an eye-catching fabric that I can only describe as another identity crisis. I figure in this climate it would be smart to test out a few different ventures, and to skill myself up in an area that AI hopefully isn't touching for some years yet. If you've ever tried to get Claude's help on the sewing or knitting pattern, you'll understand why I'm not too worried about it taking over handcrafts just yet. My plan here is to start sewing bunting. It's quintessentially British, easy to make, and seasonal. Summer parties, autumn decor, Christmas, Valentine's, Norway's National Day, new baby. I figure I'll make a handful, see if anyone actually wants to buy them via Etsy, Shopify, and a craft fair or two. From there, I hope to skill myself up enough to sew bespoke cushion covers for sailboats. Yes, it's a thing. Really. Knitting, however, will remain hobby only. Like hiking, it's my place of solace and where I can meditate the world away through movement. Sewing and cross-stitch, on the other hand, carry just about enough tears of frustration that I figure I may as well try to make some money off of it. Simply existing and building a life that feels like a Saturday morning. Perhaps this is the biggest challenge of all. As you can understand by now, I'm simultaneously spontaneous and anxious. I yo-yo between wanting to do all the things and hide on my sofa with my wool. Throw in a looming timeline on life expenses and no income, and it's a recipe for things to potentially go off the rails. So here I am, humbly laying my mess out on the internet. In part for accountability, and in part because I know none of this is unique. I know some of this rang true for you. That you crave more connection with yourself, with your surroundings. That you feel both the pull to take life by the horns and to slow down. I'm inviting you to take this journey with me, to craft a life, step by step, that feels like waking up on a Saturday morning. You slept enough, the smell of coffee warms your heart, the breeze through the window is a balm on your soul. You don't know yet what the day is going to bring, and that's okay. You know the weekend can be short, and you're going to be mindful about both not wasting it, but also not trying to cram too much in. Are you in? Then let me put the kettle on. With a warm hug, Tiffany. If you're still here with me, I hope that spoke to you in some way. I hope it was okay that I just sat down and read from my screen. I am just trying to approach everything I do now with more authenticity, less second guessing, less trying to fit the market, whilst being mindful, of course, of what's going on and how people consume. But it has to start with what feels okay for me. And sometimes that's going to mean scrappier stuff. And that's okay for me as long as it feels good to do it. So I hope it was okay for you. Let me know if any of this rang a bell for you, spoke to something in you, the journey you're on. And what kind of if there's any kind of content or topics you'd love us to cover together, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification so you actually get, YouTube tells you when there's a new video out, especially since I cannot guarantee it's going to be every single week, but I'm going to do my best for as long as it feels right. Lots of love, and I'll see you next time.